Hello and welcome to Photoshop Foundry. We're going to make you awesome at Photoshop. Okay, let's try to do something fun. What do we want to do? I'm going to show you how to do something fun with a texture and some editable type. So let's try to make us a new document here. Okay, let's see what we want to make. Let's make something 8 inches wide by 6 inches tall, 72 dpi. Okay, I think this will work. Wow, great. I think we could make something bigger. Well, let's see. We'll go to our image size and let's make this 14 by 10.5. That's exciting. Okay, now what do we want to do here? Well, what I want to talk about is adding some texture to editable type. That is, you're going to get a texture on some type, but if you change your mind and want to spell a different word or change your text, then you can do that. What I'm going to do is start with my favorite word. Yes, that's my favorite word. And of course my favorite website. Of course. And to show you this little stunt, I'm going to want to make that kind of thick. So I'm going to use impact. And
Curious.
I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so you can see this. So there we have some lovely type. What can you do with that type? Well, what you can do is you can add a layer style with a pattern overlay. And look at that. Beautiful. You've got some standard patterns to pick from, built right into Photoshop, ready for you to use. Here's a pattern I made, not for this demonstration, but it's another example of a pattern that would work in there. But wait a minute. How did I get a pattern in here, and how did I get it on my type? Well, let's talk about that. Let's see how we do that. Okay, so let's have some excitement here. What we want to do is I'm going to open up. You can do this with any file you have. I'm going to open up a texture that I created. And hey, look at that. It's not under my recent, so we're going to have to go looking around. Let's see what we've got here. I've been working on this for you guys. Brushes. Let's look at this grunge test that I did. Now this is a really detailed texture, so I'm going to zoom in on it so you can see this. Look at that. There is some serious texture there. And what I want to do is I want to put that texture inside of my type. But I'm going to put it in there in a way that makes it editable so we can change our mind if we want to. So here's what you want to do. First of all, I've got a little shenanigans going on over here with my textures. So, well, that looks interesting. I'm going to merge these layers, and then I'm going to copy. Let's see. No, I'm not going to copy. I don't need a copy. I'm going to go over here under Edit, and I'm going to say Define Brush. I'm sorry. We'll do brush on another tutorial. I'm going to define pattern. I'm going to name that pattern grunge.
Curious.
Grunge.
Curious.
Look at that, I don't know how to spell grunge. Spelling is not my forte. Photoshop is. Grunge number 1. Okay. what happened? Well, let's just trust Photoshop and assume that I now have a pattern defined, and I'm not going to save that. I don't care about that anymore. I'm going to go over here to my pattern, effect, pattern overlay. I'm going to double click on that. I'm going to go look at my pattern. Look at that. There's my pattern. It's right there. It's the last one, grunge number 1. And now what's great about this is I can work with this pattern a little bit. I can scale it up and down. They're scaling it up. I can scale it down depending on how much of that grunge texture I want. I can change the blend mode. Now this blend mode is impacting the color that I had originally selected, which was that kind of burnt darkish red that it's interacting with the black texture. So there, look at that pen light. That looks really interesting. I can control how much of that I want, so I might play with that a little bit. And great, I've got my texture. But what's really great about this is, let's say I decided, I'd been thinking about calling this photoshopfun.com, not photoshopfoundry.com. Well, look at that. My texture's still in place. It can be summerfun.com. I'm thinking about summer because it's so cold. And we can scale, and that texture's going to work with us. You can look at the texture's moving in the background of our shape. It's created a mask basically on top of that. But it's an editable, we can still edit the text, so we're not locked to that. We could pass this file off to a friend with that texture embedded in there, and they could do other things with it. And of course, don't forget that we're not limited to that pattern overlay for our effects. Just for fun, let's do a little, let's do a down bevel. This is extra fun here, just to show you that because we've got our own custom, I want to do an inner glow. Because we've got our own texture in there, we can start doing all kinds of fun stuff with it. I can't see my inner glow. Must not be big enough. There we go. I don't know why I'm doing that. That just looks goofy. But let's see. Overlay usually does something interesting. Well, I don't know. That makes it lighter. Okay, so look at that. You now know how to put a texture into type, and it can be your own texture instead of that grunge texture that I used. It could be a pattern of flowers. It could be anything you want. You capture that as a pattern, lay that pattern into your text via the pattern overlay style in your layer style menu, and presto. Now you could also do this with other things, other shapes and things, but what's great with type is that you can now edit this all that you want and maintain that texture, that pattern overlay that you created, and it's your own. It's not somebody else's, not the one that Photoshop gave you, and not the one that Adobe supplied. So have fun with that, and we will see you next time.